Well, howdy, y'all. Welcome to another high-powered episode of the High Voltage Live Show. I'm your host, Willie Snyder from NEC Code, coming to you live from the Man Cave in the Mile High City here in Denver, Colorado. And I'm joined by my awesome co-host, Mr. King James Stalkup, over there in big Longhorn country, giving a hook 'em horns from the Mile High City. I appreciate it. I really apologize to Chad if the link didn't go through. I thought that I sent everything when I got home from work, but King James is just telling me he didn't get my information from the Willie Quiz, so I apologize if that link didn't go through, but we were really hoping to have Chad on this week. He's a really good teacher over there from Utah, and so if it screwed up, that was my bad. Apologize, and I don't know what's going on. Something's weird. I don't think Facebook's real happy with me, but look who we have coming in to not play in the quiz this week, because we don't have a quiz this week, but we'll have the quiz after Thanksgiving, so Daniel.
If Chad's watching, I'll go link in with him and send him the link over on Instagram.
Oh yeah, man. Raider Nation got crushed by them Cowboys, man.
We're talking about Cowboys whooped their rear end. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah, he's saying that he said the Raider Nation better have some respect on them Cowboys, because they whooped up on them. That's what he's saying.
Put some respect on us, brother.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. He's giving you props, man. You can't be hating on Daniel, man. But we had somebody come by a little earlier and give us a little,
Broncos country, let's ride.
Yeah, there we go.
Broncos country, let's ride.
Thanks a lot. Russell Wilson popped on in, gave us some let's ride. But I swore that I forwarded the link, and then I dropped the quiz, and it showed that it was all in there, but I don't know. I should have called you probably to make sure, but like I said, I just thought it went, and so it didn't. So we won't have a quiz this week, but it's all good. We have plenty of stuff.
If Chad's watching us at your Instagram, I sent you the link.
There you go. We'd like to have Chad on. I was telling my apprentice all about it, and he teaches a lot of the same way that I teach, as far as, out in the field, hands-on, kind of what you do. Always try to be like 2-3 steps ahead of the foreman, and just always try to be in that position to, get it done. So, and,
Now, I just have one question. Now, just to prove the point, the Cowboys got new defensive linemen. They got DeMarcus Overshown back, got some players back, and now they're about to go on a win streak. And I was just curious, did the Cowboys win by more points than the Denver Broncos did against them?
Yeah, I mean...
See, I'm a good smack talker, too.
Yeah, I mean that's fair to say. We just only put up the amount of points we needed to beat them, so, that's all we needed. But I was joking around about that because the Avs scored, they won 9-1 against the Oilers the night after that, or 2 nights later. And I was like, man, the Avs almost scored more than the Broncos, playing hockey. So that was pretty funny. But yeah, we like smack talking, and especially throwing out the old. Oh man, that's crazy. But
it's like I said, next year gonna be a good year, because they got that Quinnen, that defensive lineman, and they got that linebacker Luke, and now they got 2 first-round draft picks. Boy, next year, that's going to be pretty tough. You watch and see.
Yeah,
you'll see.
That's true. All right, well, let's. I guess we'll go roll the meme, huh?
Okay. All right.
Dude, that's an old school one, man. Old school. That's
Yeah,
funny.
boy. Move them shorts and check that box.
Yeah. Us Sparkies, man, and you could tell that we're one of those type of people that do this kind of stuff, but we got a little bit of audio. I think you might have some things that I might have to verify here. We'll check it out.
Okay.
I've been on 70E pretty much since it started. I'm on the EECA committee, which deals with NFPA
Oh, stop.
496, 497.
Is this the debate I just had with Jeremy?
Yep.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, you're. Everyone always says you've never been on any committees or anything like that, so.
Okay.
499, and I also have been on NFPA 70B. When we were getting all the updates and stuff done for that, they asked us to be on that. And Dad and I have been on those committees. We contribute all of that, and then we've gone to all the code making panels. We used to go to all of those. I've gone in. When we did the code changes 2 times in a row, or 2 cycles in a row, I actually went to the NFPA convention, and I was the one that did the code changes, and I had all the code making panel members, everything that come to that meeting would come in there and sat in that class. And these were well-known people, and I'd go through everything, explain what they did, nobody disagreed. And when y'all come out and y'all start attacking the stall cuts like y'all do, and say we don't know what the hell we're talking about, we're morons, idiots, and call us every freaking name in the book. And after all the stuff we've done and all these committees and stuff and things we've done with NFPA, that is very derogatory, and that's why I got to where I don't put up that. And y'all started that right away when I disagreed with Ryan that there was no outlet. Y'all started attacking our publications and calling us all kinds of names. And that happened, and everybody knows it.
And I was wondering when you were going to bring him up, because again, you're the only one that brings that guy up. So
that's when it happened, and I'll tell you how I know that it's true. Because then I told Bill, and Bill will vouch for this. I said, watch this. I said, I'm just going to say, well, maybe I need to look into this. And I said, watch, Ryan Jackson will comment. As soon as I did that, he come on, oh, that's okay, James, everybody makes a mistake. And I said, it's funny, Ryan. I said, you hadn't commented once. I said, but I told Bill if I do this, I said, watch, he'll comment.
Yeah, so that was really funny back then, because this is before this whole outlet argument really started getting going. And it was really hilarious because I didn't even know, what the whole thing, it was really crazy because... I thought everyone was on board with all this stuff, and I was like, oh man, yeah, everyone's getting along and all this, and that was right when we were very first starting the NEC deathmatch, and I was thinking, oh man, this is gonna be so cool. Everyone's gonna get along. We'll have code competitions. We'll have all this stuff, and then next thing you know, he just comes out and says something so derogatory towards you, and I was like, wow. You know what I mean? I was blown away, and you guys just instantly started going after it, and you know what I mean? And then that's when I realized how much of a big of a fight we were going to be in with these guys over that, outlet thing. And I think you describe it here a little bit as we go in. We'll go. You basically absolutely destroyed him. This is the last 10 minutes of the debate. He didn't say much at all except a few words. It was funny.
Everything I said was true. It was fact.
He couldn't say nothing, so we'll keep going.
And he's part of y'all too. That's a fact.
And
that happened.
How is he my idol? How is he my idol? How is he my idol? How will I do all this?
Oh, it's just like you said. I never met him, and then we showed a picture of you, and there you are. Well, I don't know him that well.
So he's my idol?
I need somebody coming from the type of person that says, oh, all you freaking Texas electricians are nothing but glorified dictators. That is unbelievable somebody would say that.
Oh my God.
No, it just shows the type of person you are.
I don't give a shit. People can think I'm an asshole. People can
That's
hate
what
me.
I'm talking about. I never made a statement like that towards anybody just a whole group like that.
Bill does.
The only time
Bill
I
does.
made comments y'all is when y'all started attacking me. I was perfectly fine and just having a code discussion. Then all of a sudden, you, Ted Fritz, Mike Myers, Lloyd, all you freaking guys over there, all of a sudden y'all started, your publication sucks, you're a fucking embarrassment to the electrical industry, you're a disgrace. Just started calling me all this stuff because I disagreed with you. And that's what you guys over there do. Y'all attack anybody that disagrees with you. I mean, just look how many freaking posts you put up on NEC for Dummies just attacking me. Constantly. It never
I
stops.
don't attack-
It never stops.
And again, I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
I don't care what people think of me.
apparently you care, or you wouldn't be posting all this stuff. I don't post anything about you until you keep trying to attack me.
I care that people get correct information. That's it. All I give a fuck about, man.
And that's why you
If I
call
leave
them
that school-
dipshit, moron, and use
if
all
I
kinds
leave
of
that
cuss
school and
words
nobody-
and all this other stuff, and then you go attack a whole freaking state of electricians. Oh yeah, you really care what people learn on the NEC. Your whole thing is about attacking everybody.
Really?
Yeah, you're
Really?
constantly
Really?
attacking people.
So I'm attacked where? I
All you gotta
attack-
do is
Dude, this is so funny, and like everyone knows who, like Daniel probably saw it live, but we were on the podcast and we were talking about EBSE, and I was telling him how Inspector passed the installation because they're not looking at that as an outdoor outlet, and he says, "Oh, HJ's an idiot," and da da da, and then later on, he was sitting there, it was like probably not even a few minutes later, he's like, "I only call you and James idiots. I don't call anybody else idiots." It's like, oh yeah, you just called the AHJ idiot like 5 minutes ago, and we ain't actually showed the comment and everything on there. It was funny. Like, you point that out. That's funny.
go look. All you gotta do is go to NEC Dummies, look at all the posts. You got one after another on there. And it's always
Going after
this,
you.
this,
You
this.
say I attack everybody. You say I attack
Well,
everybody.
sure you do. Anybody
Show me where I
that
am.
disagrees with you.
Show me the proof.
Just like you came on one of our podcasts, you said the only two I call are morons is you two. We said, "Hey, you just called this inspector, agreed with us a moron. Well, he is a moron." And that's what I'm talking about. You go in, and if somebody disagrees with you, you call them names.
So 3 people, that's everybody?
Oh, you've done it more than that. I've seen you on them groups, somebody disagrees, and you start attacking them. And then you get your boys to come over and attack them too. And then you start tagging everybody, "Oh, I need some help. These guys are wearing me out."
I'll correct somebody, and then they'll like, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about." Then yeah, once they go after me, then fuck, I'll go after
They don't go after you.
But the thing is
they
that
just
correcting
disagree
somebody-
with you. They're not calling you names or anything. They disagree, and then you start calling them names. You've done this over and over. Everybody knows it. It ain't something that is news for anybody. Everybody knows it.
Everybody.
All they got to
Okay,
do is just
everybody.
follow the comments and read what you say to people.
Love to see everybody out there, and
It's
But,
like you're I
hey,
know
but
what
at
it
least-
is. You're up north in Minnesota. You have your elitist attitude that you're smarter than all of us dumb Southerners down here, and that's why you.
never said that.
Well, you act like it when you call all Texas electricians nothing
said
but
that.
glorified.
He says he never said that.
You never said, yeah, you
Yeah,
did.
never said that. It's like, but he never once disagreed with saying he did. He called all Texas electricians. He said all Texas journeymen are nothing but glorified ditch diggers. He said Texas journeymen, and it's like I was sitting there like, oh, well, good thing that ain't you because you're a master. But
Anybody watching this podcast, I provided the link to it. Y'all need to go listen. That just where I was just telling his ass off like it was. But what got even more is I actually went in and took him back and showed him. And he just keeps it's like they always do. They pick one part of the code out and try to apply it to everything instead of going back looking where the rest of the code ties in. And I'm taking him back, showing him where it is. And he's still arguing with me. And I even told him on there, I said, I even had a guy that is an instructor for the IBW and literally said you were an embarrassment, not only as a brother, but also professionally. And he was embarrassed by you. This was one of their old set, and he even put. He said, I don't know how. He goes, I don't know how you stay so calm and professional dealing with people like that.
True.
And but a lot of people are seeing that video, and trust me, if Jeremy Wheat thought that video that live stream went anywhere in his favor, he'd have posted that sucker everywhere. He went dead silent because I told him like it was.
True.
I did not put up with anything from him, and at one point I told him to shut up.
I remember
Because
that
he
too.
kept interrupting. I told him to shut his ass up. And
You could tell he like I think this only got like a couple more minutes, but like you could tell he really shuts it down. Like after you're like, my dad's right here, he'll tell you straight up. He's just like, all right, I gotta go.
But it's okay that you partner up with Bill, who says all union electricians are uneducated, don't own a code book, that I'm a racist and a bigot, and I personally got people laid off in my class.
So what's funny is he totally twists my words on that, because what happened was there was people that got laid off that were in his class, and he didn't say nothing about it. He didn't do nothing. He didn't care. He didn't tell anybody. He didn't even give a shit. And what's funny is that he's acting like, oh, I personally did that. It's like, no, I didn't say that. I said that these people got laid off, and guess what? None of them were white, and none of them were male. So white males all kept their jobs during this whole thing. They somehow saw past this whole thing like it was no big deal, but they were all minorities and females that got laid off during this whole thing. And that's what I brought to his attention. And he's, oh, how did I have anything to do with that? I was like, I never said that. I never said you had anything to do with it. I said you didn't do anything. I said you didn't stand up for him. That's exactly what I said. So for him to say he personally was responsible, I didn't say that. And so he has a problem with trying to take people's words and twist them and say, oh, everybody. It's like, yeah, everybody that reads those comments knows that's how you are. And dude, I have questions that's on NEC for Dummies when people join, and one of the guys wrote on there, I'm weed man, I don't know anything, and it was funny because it's like these people are starting to realize who this guy is and what he does, and he doesn't care about the facts. He doesn't care about the truth. All he cares about is one sentence that says something that supposedly proves him right, but doesn't look at the other code sections.
That's right.
It's ridiculous, but it's
I don't know what he
literally
said.
said
That's
all
between y'all. I don't get into that.
But you're partners with the guy.
I'm not partners with him. We just do a podcast together. And the reason we do it because we enjoy doing it.
True.
It's just something, it's just a freaking podcast. I don't make any money.
Thank you. It is just a free.
That's right. I don't make any money off of it. Everything's free. You come in and listen to it. I don't charge nobody any money. I've never asked for any money. But you go.
I never said you did.
Yeah, but that's what I'm telling you. Everything that we do on there, it's my money that I'm spending to put that podcast and everything together, and I spend probably a total of about 2 hours a week getting it ready. I do that for the industry. I give back.
Okay.
And all you do is attack us for it.
Right.
I say when I believe you're wrong, and it just.
You don't say you don't believe wrong. You come in, oh fuck, king dip shit and blah blah blah. That's how you talk.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And anybody that disagrees with you, you call them names too. That's a fact.
Really? I've had students disagree with me in class. I don't call them dipshits or idiots or
No, because
anything
you
like
get
that.
hired there, but when you're on the groups and stuff,
Dude, he's acting like
That's right. You get your ass fired, you do that in a classroom.
he's acting like he wouldn't get fired. He's like, oh, I wouldn't get fired. It's like, then do it. It's just ridiculous. Talking about
all of a sudden you're an internet keyboard warrior.
True.
But the thing is, again, I'm talking to you right now. I'm fucking calling you a dipshit. I'm not scared of him. I'm not scared.
Well, the only
again,
one
like I
that
said,
Cliff Rock's won so far is you, and you want to disagree.
I love that one. You're like, The only one that's looked like a dipshit so far is you. He didn't have nothing to say to that. Oh,
And
man.
I'm showing you, taking you back and showing you where it tells you to do exactly what it says, and you don't want to agree with it because you have your point of view and you don't want to be proven wrong. And I'm trying to explain to you, this has been out there for 30 years. Nobody's ever questioned it. And you think you're elitist. You think you're smarter than everybody.
No, because I've seen books. I've seen ETA, their code calculation books. I
wouldn't go too highly on ETA. I mean, those guys over there, they're the ones of your good union brothers, taking and trying to sell to the non-union and everything and broke off from the NJTC. Yeah, they're a good bunch over there. Those are the same guys when I was going to take a booth over there and Palmer Hickman. Yeah, you hear me, Palmer? I'm calling you out. He's the one that, after I paid for it and everything, he saw we were coming. He didn't want them to see how good our material is. So what he do? He denied our booth after we had already paid for it. Yeah, that happened.
Show me that he, in fact.
I don't have to show nothing. You tell him I said it. He'll probably admit to it. That happened. That did it. My dad's right here. He'll come on and tell you, yeah, that happened. He knows it happened too. It ain't hearsay. That happened.
Okay.
All right.
Well, anyway, it's almost.
Yeah. I'm ready to go eat lunch.
Yeah, I gotta roll.
I'm hungry.
Oh, man. Oh, dude. That was so hilarious, man. Like,
You know what's so awesome about that is I've been in this industry for a long time dealing with all these associations and different things. I know the goods and what they did. And it's like I was saying, NJTC, the National Joint Apprenticeship Training Committee, I went through that when I started back in 1982, finished in 1986. Great program, everything. Then NJTC broke off from the union. And then after they had that going and everything, then they broke off, called it ETA. And I know this 1,000,000% fact because I was there when it happened. ETA was over there trying to sell IEC their material. And that's why I told them, I said, yeah, I said, you've got real good union brothers. I said, when they're trying to sell the material that was done by the NJTC over to the non-union, but you union brothers all stick together, right? In other words, what's good for us over here is good for us, but you union brothers should follow us because we're part of you, but we're going to sell it to these other people. That's exactly the type of double standard I'm talking about when it gets into this. And then, see, Jeremy doesn't think anybody knows about that, but I actually know because I'm in the publishing business and I know what took place.
True.
And IEC specifically, we were standing there when they were trying to sell them because some of the IEC chapters still use our publications today, and they were telling us that. So that's how I know everything, and goes in and shows the double standard. And then all of a sudden, Jeremy doesn't want to talk about it, and he says, "You got proof of that?" Yeah, well, I can bring people on that say, "Yeah, that happened."
True.
So
yeah, it was pretty ridiculous. So just so everyone knows the whole backstory, he got proven wrong live on our show, and then he challenged you to a debate, and then you just went on there and just took him out to the woodshed, and like the whole thing was, I never heard one time what he said the correct answer is. Not once. The whole entire time. You know, he just disagreed with you. It's like, if you really knew the right answer, then put it out there. Show the math. He never once did that. He didn't even pull out his whiteboard like he says he does so good on.
Well, one of the interesting things, he goes, well, the conductors have to be equal to or greater than, then you drop down. Well, hell, why can't I go down to 100 amp? I said, well, hell, if you're going to look at it that way, Jeremy, I said, why don't we just kick the conductors up over 1,000 and take the breaker and then size the breaker down to 100 amps if that's the case. Oh, you're just making things up. I said, you just did it. I'm giving you an example over some stupid crap. What if you give me? I said, nobody designs like that, Jeremy. I said, that's what you guys do. Y'all play the what if game. You don't really go in and show everything and line it up with the code in the way the calculation is. And I said, it amazes me. NFPA published our book for about 10 years or something like that. And we had that exact calculation in there. Been in there for, 30 years. NFPA's staff, technical, engineers, everybody, they had 3 different people that went in and reviewed that book. And Dad will come on here and say the exact same thing. And not one of them disagreed with that calculation.
Yeah. And then I thought it was funny because he mentions one time where he's like, what if you put 900 amp conductors on 100 amp? And you're like, what are you going to do? Haircut them to fit the lugs?
Yeah.
I thought it was funny.
I was like, see, that's that what if crap I'm talking about you guys do. I said, this is why people get upset on the groups and everything, because y'all always doing these what ifs. And that's when I got into him. I said, it's just like Dimitrovich. I said, come on there. I said, we got the audio where he specifically says, oh, we have these devices and everything, but if we don't put it in the code, nobody will use it. I said, what does that sound like to you, Jeremy? I said, but you won't say anything to him. I said, because he's part of y'all's little group over there.
Yeah, it's James Cook touchdown, right on. Oh, I'm on the board in fantasy. Thanks. I forgot to do the Thursday night football prediction, but we'll keep it electrical. And,
where's the myth of the week?
It's right here, Michael. Here we go.
It's time for Myth of the Week.
Yeah, so this week was really awesome. I really apologize kind of doing these a little bit of a last minute. I usually post them out on Tuesday, but as you can see here, this is kind of an interesting situation. Not sure what kind of code sections could possibly be violated here, or possibly could be like some kind of affair or some kind of a temporary setup that they get permission from the HJ to kind of do that with those cam locks and stuff, and doing a little bit of a different install that they are okay with just as like a temporary install. But it's hard to see, but on the bottom they have just like a bell box that's just mounted to that enclosure, and it's probably just like a chase nipple that's going in there. Well, a lot of people, when we were doing some of these cabinets, they're like, oh, well, you can't just support that box with chase nipple. And I disagreed with them. I was like, no, I think it's fine. I mean, if you go into, I believe it's 314, it's 314.21E or 314.23, 314.23. And so that's like a raceway supported enclosure. And like I say, it's a rigid metal intermediate conduit that's, basically essentially the support of that enclosure. You have a conduit, and you do have exceptions in there. A lot of times if you're not using like EMT to support it, you're using like a rigid metal, and you're good to go. And like I say, in this case, you have like a rigid chase nipple that's supporting it and stuff. So that's 100% good to go. A lot of people were like, oh man, you need to use those ears that come with the bell box in order to, support it. And it's like, no, you don't. And so we've already proven that. We've already went through all this stuff. We've shown that you could drill them, and you could drill and tap them as long as you silicone the screws afterwards and follow the manufacturer's listing and labeling and instructions. So this is just another example of how some of these guys take things in the code and say, oh yeah, all boxes require independent support of the structure. Well, where is the structure in that picture? You know what I mean? Like, is the structure that light pole or that post or whatever, is that considered structure? Then how do you independently support everything to that? The panel board enclosure is already independently supported to that. And so anything you attach to that panel board will be considered supported, as long as you're following all these rules here in 314.23. And I really appreciate you throwing this kind of together last minute, James. I was kind of dropping the ball this week. It's just been real busy. I'm working out at DIA and doing 10-hour shifts. It's pretty rough, just a lot of long hours, and so it's hard to get everything put together. But
long as I know what it is, it doesn't take me long to put together because I know where all the sections and everything are.
Yeah, I screwed up on the quiz, and I probably screwed up on the link to Chad, so I apologize, Chad. We'll get him on after Thanksgiving. I'll reach out and just let him know, like, hey, here's the link, here's how you get in there, and maybe I'll see what happened. It's really weird because it looked like everything went through. Maybe I should have just left my computer on because maybe it didn't send all the way. Because I shut my computer down to get ready for the podcast. Maybe when I shut it down, it didn't send or something. I don't know. Something weird happened, but like I say, it's all good. I've been very blessed the way that this podcast is ran. We have very few mistakes. The other day, Paul did a master of the NEC. He usually does them in the morning, and his volume was you couldn't even hear him. I had my stereo cranked up almost as high as it could go, and I still couldn't hear him. And then one of the guys in the podcast was like, hey, your volume's screwed up, and he started yelling at that guy. Saying, I got it as loud as I could get it, and I don't know what you're talking about. And then next thing you know, it about blew my speakers out because he turned his volume up, and then I would turn the volume back down. And I'm like, oh man. Then same thing happened again. He started fading out. You couldn't even hear him again. I was like, man, I'm not even gonna listen to this thing, So I just feel very blessed that we haven't had those kind of technical issues like our volume and all this different stuff. So means a lot. But then you look at this, it's pretty simple. If you're using a threaded hub and it shows different cubic inches, there's a lot of different little exceptions. You're not gonna just go out there and support 100-pound enclosure out there with a raceway, as long as it's a lot of times what we do, and King James will vouch for me on this. A lot of times what we do is when we have some of these raceway supported enclosures, we'll use what they call a dog leg, or I don't know exactly what the proper terminology for it, but you'll just use a raceway that you support on the other side that doesn't have any conductors in it. So it's just I think we call them a dog leg, or we call them something, but it's just where you have your enclosure that's entering, you have a rigid that's entering your raceway supported enclosure on one side, and that has all the conductors in it, and then you'll just run a dummy conduit out the other side and then just support that. And then that way you got both sides of the enclosure supported, and you're not just supporting it by the one side where the conductors enter. So that's one way to do it that we've done before. Sometimes it even works if you have a T conduit or something. Then what you'll do is you'll have one side of the conduit is your drain, the other side of the conduit is your dog leg that actually supports it, and then you'll have possibly even X conduit where you'll have a drain, you'll have one supporting it, your conductors entering, then you'll have your other that goes up to your device or whatever. So we've done this a lot, and it goes into a lot of myths that we've covered on this podcast, where it comes to splicing in that conduit body. A lot of people are like, oh, you can't do that. And it's how many times do we have to run these myths for people to realize yeah, you can do that. It's totally fine. I mean, a lot of listed assemblies actually come that way, where they actually have a luminaire that actually comes out one side of the conduit body, and then the other side threads onto a piece of rigid, and then you make your luminaire terminations into that conduit body. I've seen that before.
Yep.
So,
The only thing, and it was a jurisdiction thing that we really would see something like this if we ever saw it, was we had a thing when I was a chief electrical inspector in Grapevine. Big thing, we had Grape Fest. Matter of fact, Grape Fest, that's where the Dixie Chicks really got started.
Is that Christmas? Because I know you guys. I know Grapevine
Yeah.
has a massive Christmas thing.
Yeah,
that we talk about.
and there's a lot of stuff that went on there. Well, one of the things that I developed down there, talking to all the contractors and people who are putting everything on, we actually had everything set up to where we had everything mounted on pedestals.
Right.
And they were built pedestals and everything, and then we had the cables and stuff that run on the ground, and we actually, where there was a lot of pedestrian traffic, we actually covered all of that up. But
would you reject this?
well, I probably would, from the cable that's coming in. That doesn't look right, what they did there.
It doesn't look. I would say it could potentially be like a 312.5C violation.
Yeah, the way they splice that and everything, there's nothing holding that cable. We actually required them to come into the bottom, and it had to be secured to the panel. Then it dropped down.
Maybe possibly like a strand relief or some kind
we
of
would
like
have something like that. That's just a PVC connection or connector.
Yeah.
It looks like they're just pushing it through and connecting it. I wouldn't allow that right there.
Yeah.
But as far as the box underneath, looking at that, I wouldn't have any problem with that if I'm looking at it and they've got, some type of threaded entry or some type of hub that they're using that's connecting all of that. But
true.
The way we did it, we didn't even have to worry about that, because what we required was we had pedestals that were built, and before they ever put them out or anything, we had a contractor there, Roberts, I think was his name, I can't remember, but he provided all the pedestals and everything, and they built them in the shop, and I'd go over and look at them, and then we would approve certain pedestals and everything to be used, and then they'd just come in, bring the cable hook to it, and it's ready to go.
Nice. Yeah, and I think this is kind of important to kind of get this topic going a little bit when it comes to like holiday and stuff, because a lot of times what you get is these people trying to get their holiday lights in and kind of just doing some hokey stuff, and it's really important to know like sometimes these boxes need support and sometimes they don't. Like I know you probably didn't put it in here, but you do have the 300.11, and we've already covered this multiple times in other podcasts where that's what a lot of people quote when it comes to independent support to the structure for boxes.
Sure.
Or enclosures. But
yeah, I didn't go through that because this was the main section for that.
Yeah. No, but I mean, I think you got it good, but it's pretty cool that people can realize like, hey, you don't need to support every enclosure, and a lot of people are like, oh really? And then you go, oh yeah, well you support every conduit body you install, and they're like, no. Okay, well it's the same thing. It's exact same thing. So a lot of people don't realize that.
We have they had in Grapevine, they have like a little Christmas village at one spotted down from where they built the new city hall, and it's really nice. But we worked on that for quite a few years, getting it where it was even more safe. And we had a pedestal that was built in the back that supplied everything around for that Christmas village. Mm-hmm. And then we had certain things set up where it was covered where you didn't even see the wiring or anything.
Nice.
We worked on that, and I think guy's name was Charlie Roberts, if I'm not mistaken. But he'd come down there and he'd say, yeah, we can put this over it and this and get it over to here. I said, yeah. I said, anything that protects the public. I said, because there's going to be a lot of kids coming in here taking pictures and going inside the village and all that. We wired the little village up a certain way where they went in and concealed everything. And we just built extra things inside to conceal everything. And it really didn't take them that long. I think within 3 years of different things getting added, we never had any problems. Everything was concealed. And even when it was raining out there pouring, everything was tight, secure. We had strain reliefs on everything, and it was all built in. And they had a department down there that took care of all the villages and stuff like that they put in storage. And then when they come out to put it in, it was all built and everything. And then Roberts and them come out and they'd run the power to each one, hook it up, put strain reliefs on it, and it was good to go.
Yeah, so I think I did do a podcast about like top 10 Christmas things, and I think it was in the top 10.
Oh, yeah.
That Grapevine Village. I think it was called Grapevine Village or something like that.
Yeah, it is. The Grapevine Santa Village.
Yep, that's what it was. Yeah, it was top. I think it was top 10 things. So check out the Willie Jackerson experiment if you want to get proof that King James once again is not just telling lies.
I was there before when it was just getting going. I mean, they had good Christmas display stuff, but now they've taken the old town downtown there, and all of the shops and everything decorate, and then the street gets all decorated now. And then I was there when all the Christmas village and all that was getting going, and I was the one that was in charge of it downtown, making sure we kept everybody safe and doing that with Great Fest. Matter of fact, when we were doing Great Fest, they wanted me down there on Saturday and Sunday, just, making sure everything looked good. And I was there right on before they went on stage. I was sitting there cutting up and laughing and talking with the Dixie Chicks like 3 years in a row. They know me personally.
This is interesting. David Englehart's in the house. He's bringing the heat tonight. He's coming out. He's coming at us tonight. So that's pretty awesome. Thanks, David. We love having people challenge us. And he says, good evening, y'all. Can a pool light J-box be supported by 2 PVC conduits? I would imagine that they're schedule 80 possibly, because they're exposed to physical damage. Yep. Per 314.23, it is no taller than 18 inches from the earth. I would say yes. I don't see what would say there isn't. I mean, is that considered rigid? I mean, it does mention intermediate. Is that not a wiring method that's approved?
This is my opinion. No. I think it has to be like rigid, because that is. I just don't. I think
if you
that
look
can be pushed and it can be broke.
If you look at here, it says exception 1, rigid metal or intermediate metal conduit, or it says exception 2, an unbroken length of rigid or intermediate metal conduit. I don't think it says anything about PVC.
No, it doesn't.
I mean, to me, honestly, we actually have done something similar to that before, and they actually make a specific box support for that. They make a specific thing.
I know where this is coming from, because I've seen this before. They used to do that, where they would come out, but there wouldn't be any device there. It was mainly a junction box that they would do this, so it would make it easier. They wouldn't have to pull the wires long, and they could just make their junctions up there, so they had access to it instead of having to pull a long run out if something happened. And they used to just stub 2 up.
That's kind of that's a good point there, David. But that would be if there are exceptions that it doesn't need additional support of the enclosure, right?
Yeah, what he's referencing is the last sentence that's in 314.23F, and it says it shall be supported by 2 or more conduits threaded wrench tied into the enclosure or hubs. Each conduit shall be secured within 18 inches. And that's what I'm saying. They would just stub them up, but they wouldn't secure the conduit.
Right.
Now, if you secure the conduit, I'm okay with it. But then again, if you're going to secure the conduit, why didn't you just go ahead and mount the box up to the wall or whatever's there and then just thread into it?
Yeah, and that's another good point that you bring up there, because it says threaded wrench tight into the enclosure or hubs. And if you go into like PVC, aren't those terminal adapters?
Yeah, but I'm not even worrying about that, because I'm using the last sentence. Each conduit shall be secured within 18 inches of the enclosure.
And they're same side entries, so yeah, and that's open air.
Well, I don't know if did he say it was coming in the side?
No, so basically what he's describing is you have 2 conduits that stub up within 18 inches coming out of the earth, and then you just have the enclosure as being supported by those 2.
The conduit has to be secured.
I mean,
it just can't be stubbed up like that.
So you're not calling the earth securement?
No, I don't consider that securing the conduit. That's just a normal run. It's no different if I was running down the side there and it wasn't in there. The earth is not securing the conduit, because I can grab that conduit and move it. Because in my opinion, that conduit has not been secured.
So if I did that same exact thing with RMC, I'd be okay, or I would need to somehow find a way to secure.
No, I think now you're going down looking into the exception there, and they're calling 2 specific type of raceways out there.
Okay. So PVC's not mentioned in that exception.
But when you're looking at that exception, it's talking about a conduit body.
Right.
Okay, it's not talking about a box. Okay, and then when you're talking about a box where you have unbroken links, it's where it's supporting a luminaire or lamp holder support. So there's different things there. Then you got some conditions that you have to meet in exception 2 in order to do that.
Right.
Okay, and that's why I'm saying, when I look at this, I come back and I say here that you're turning up that conduit has to be supported within 18 inches, and therefore that helps support the box. But why would you do that if you got to support it? You might as well just go ahead and support the box and just turn the conduit up into it.
Well, there is a situation that David could use. You could actually do PVC 90s and just change over to RMC up below grade, and then just stub up RMC to your box, and then that could be a raceway supported luminaire. What's Daniel saying? Daniel said,
supported and secured are 2 different things. That's right, and that's what I'm saying. You're secure in that raceway. It's not secure just turning it up.
Yeah, and Daniel makes a good point. And what's funny is we've argued this before, where people are like, "Oh man, you can't just run MC cable or conduit through studs horizontally and say that they're supported and secured." But if you look at the actual code language, it says where these wiring methods pass through studs, they are considered secured and supported. It says that specifically in there. So you have to kind of look at that too. But Daniel does make a good point, because people are like, oh, well, if all I need to do is support something, then I could just lay it on top of the ceiling. And that's supported, but it's not secured.
That's right.
It's not secured in place.
And that's what I'm saying. When you go over and you go to Article 300 and you start looking at your different supports and securing methods, it's very specific on that. So, for example, say that I went over and I was going to look, say, rigid metal conduit, for instance, and you'll find everything will be in the 30 series. So in this case, since it's rigid, I'd be looking at 344.30. You'll see that the title to that, it's going to say securing and supporting.
Yeah.
Okay. And then it'll tell you what's considered securely fastened in A. And then you go to B, it talks about what's considered supported.
True.
Okay.
Yep.
Hopefully that helps.
I don't think there's that much argument. I really like that David Englehart comes in here and challenges us, and that's cool because to me, honestly, it's weird because we actually have done that before. Like we actually went and wired this. Like it was like a really multi-million-dollar house. They had like a pool area and everything. And we actually were able to buy these like listed assemblies, and they were really cool. It comes up PVC, and they actually have this thing you like bury in the ground and everything, and it like does everything. It's your box support, it's your luminaire, it's everything, and it was not that expensive either. And it had everything. It had the box. It was code compliant. It even says on the thing code compliant, and we're just running PVC, and the PVC's stubbing up. And I think that I even found something in there where it said that I didn't have to be schedule 80 in the instructions, where it said you could just run schedule 40 up because it, like David was saying, it's not more than 18 inches. So there was something in the literature of the manufacturers. Oh yeah, nobody reads the manufacturer instructions either. But in the manufacturer instructions that said if you're not going exposed PVC more than 18 inches, you didn't need to be schedule 80. And stuff like that, and you're considered protected from physical damage. So we could get into some more myth parts about this, but I love doing these because it always brings up more stuff, and especially when you go into like the more text that you have in that next section, that kind of further clarifies that. To me, honestly, I don't see why you couldn't take like a schedule 80, like if you were doing like say a couple 1-inch coming out of some kind of like wet niche fixture type thing set up. I don't see why you couldn't do that, but I could see it being susceptible of physical damage. And
well, what a lot of them do now when you got those wet net fixtures, now what you're starting to see, especially if they have a diving board, they'll mount it underneath there. But a lot of them will come out and mount it away from the pool now, a ways where they can protect it.
Yeah, and you've seen, like, King James is not one to shy away from anything that he's seen physical damage with PVC. I think you've had your fair share of seeing physical damage from PVC.
The one I saw, and I'll never forget this, is when I got hired on at Grapevine. I was the chief there. They wanted, the Corps of Engineers gave up the 2 marinas that were there on Lake Grapevine, which was Silver Lake, I think, was one of the marinas. The other one was Scotty's or something like that. But I went out there to look at them, and those had been out there a long time. Well, they had taken and ran Schedule 40 out there at the time on the docks, and those boats would hit them. They were cracked all over the place, and they knew they had to replace it with Schedule 80. So I wrote that up and everything. But the interesting thing, when I was out there looking at all that, they went out and they had added on to the boat slips and everything through the years. And they had a panel board at one, and then they would come out of that panel board, go over, feed the next slip, then go over to the next slip, and the next slip so on. And they had this underwater cable. When I started looking at it over time, they even went out further, and then they started adding shore power. Well, as I started looking at all of this, all the cables were exactly the same size. And when I looked at those cables, at that time it was 555.5 3, if I remember right, where the calculations were.
True.
And I went in there, and y'all always hear me, even when I was arguing with Jeremy the other day about diversity and everything. Well, you could take so many of the receptacles or the shore power, and you could take and say you go all the way out to the very end, you would calculate all of those shore powers, and then you'd get a percentage to put on that for derating purposes. And by the time I did it, the cable was probably the main cable that would have gone out the first pound board out there. It was probably, I think it was 4 sizes too small. Well, they had an engineering group come out, and they took and they would do all the calculations and take that amperage, and then come the next one, then do another derating factor, count that. And so they kept taking it. So by the time they got up there, they derated like 7 times. And they submitted this to the city, and I declined it. And so naturally, they're going to sue the city, And of course, my building official, city manager, director of community development, the mayor, and all of them, we had a meeting, and we walked in there, and there are 2 attorneys and 2 engineers there, and he's going over all this stuff. And he says this is an accepted practice in the state of Texas by the Electrical Engineering Board. Well, I'd already called down and talked to Jesse down there at the state, and told him what I had, and he goes, "Nah, we don't do that." And he said, "Well, I'll tell you what you do. If he says that's you send it down here." He goes, "We'll remove his freaking license if he's saying that." So this engineer went through it, and I said, "Now, if you look at the code," and he goes, and literally at that time I was probably about 28, 27. He said, he told me, he goes, "Looky here, son." He goes, "I think it's impressive that you're trying to impress your bosses here." He said, "But you're out of your league." He said, "You just need to sit there and shut up and let the grown-ups do the work." That's what he told me. And I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, I'll tell you what." I said, "Well, I'm going to send this down."
Oh,
Yeah,
the
no kidding.
grown-ups, huh?
The grown-ups. And I said, "I'll tell you what," I said, "what we'll do, we'll send this down to the state electrical engineering board. And if they say this is an accepted practice and this is what y'all do," I said, "I'll go ahead and sign off on that." Their freaking attorneys right there said, "That sounds fair to us." And I said, and right when I got that okay, I said, "But let me make it very clear. If I send it down there and they say this isn't an accepted practice, and that you don't follow the way I'm telling you to do it by the National Electrical Code," I said, "I'm going to have your relicense moved for 2 to 5 years." I said, "Do you understand that?" And their attorney said, "It sounds fine to us," because they thought they're engineers. They know better. And right before we're about to leave, that engineer, he goes, "Before we send that down there," he goes, "let me take that back and look at it one more time." And I just smiled, and I said, "Yeah," I said, "I think that'd be a good idea." And then right after that, I was doing some residential too on the electrical. I left the meeting, went, did something, and we had the little like walkie-talkie things that were in our car, and I get a call from Greg, and he goes, "Hey," he goes, "you need to go down to the city hall. The city manager wants to see you." I said, "Okay." So I come bouncing in there, and he said, I'm going to be calling Tommy and Greg, and I'm telling them that all I want you doing from here on out is look." He goes, "We got a lot of big commercial jobs coming up." And he goes, "That's all I want you focused on." He goes, "You don't look at any residential or anything unless they got a problem." He said, "I want you taking over every bit of this downtown." And we had the big new Grapevine Mills Mall coming in. He said, "I want you to oversee every bit of that." And
Nice.
So I leave and I go do what I do, and I come in, and Greg calls him office. He goes, "Well," he said, "I've already called all the other guys in here." He said, "The ruling had come down." He goes, "Matter of fact, we're hiring another inspector to take care of that. You're just going to do all of this down here." And it was all because I put that engineer in his place.
Dude, you have to do it. Dude, what's so funny? And dude, this is really cool. I love this comment. David Inghart says, true transparency, so many wet niche pool light fixtures. He approved with 2 Schedule 80, rigid, non-metallic, same site entries within 17 inches of the earth. He's considering the earth that support. Dude, that's 100% correct, David. And David references, 90.4. He has that power as representing the AHJ. And, he's taking on that responsibility. And that's 100% true, David. So,
And that's what I was saying earlier. This is how they used to do it. I'm telling you, I've been out there, seen too many pools, and they get it off from a distance where they can keep it protected, where kids run around the pool and stuff don't damage it.
Just so everyone's aware of the way stuff works out there in the field, is David is representing the AHJ as the inspector, and he's not the authority having jurisdiction. He's just the inspector. But he looks at that. He doesn't see a safety hazard with that. He sees it as compliant with that section of the code, regardless if it is or not. Doesn't matter. It could be a non-compliant installation from the actual language of the code, but David is like, nope. I think there's no safety hazard with that. I'm considering that Schedule 80. Listed for severe physical damage, which it is, and he's fine to do that as representing the AHJ.
Sure, and I want to bring another good point up with it dealing with AHJ. Just like I had this debate with Jeremy, I was trying to tell him, go for him to show it. Yeah, well, he is. After I finished with him, man, I was telling him, I said, one of the things, let me get this off here so we can get back on here. Yeah. So one of the things that I was telling him, I said, do you even get out in the field and see what's going on? Because he was bringing something up, about a branch circuit. And I said, well, if I take a number 12 over, I got junction box. I said, there's a lot of jurisdictions do this.
So I kind of wanted to improve on what you were saying on that. So let's just say, and it aligns with what they're saying too. So let's just say we have a number 12, goes from a 20 amp breaker, and we go hit a 20 amp receptacle, right? Mm-hmm. And we hit a junction box there. Now all of a sudden we go and split off for that room, and now I thought that was the outlet where the branch circuit ended. So now we could just go 14 and whatever our load is to the other thing. He's trying to say it was just some random box. But the whole thing is, I'm trying to align with what their language is, because now all of a sudden the branch circuit ends because that's where the outlet is, and then you go to other outlets that are sized differently in that circuit, off the same branch circuit. Sure. But the thing is, it comes into the terminology, the language, and everything, the way it's being presented, and when you use their thing, it makes perfect sense. But then they don't like that. Just like how I said that the individual branch circuit connects to one outlet that the utilization equipment connects to, and they said, no, that adds confusion. Really? That adds confusion? Okay. I mean, because I thought it was if you even try to, basically test that against all of everything what they're saying, it's true all the way across the board.
Sure.
Because if you try to connect it to more than one outlet, it's no longer an individual branch circuit.
That's right. And that's where I was telling him, I said, I've seen jurisdictions, they'll allow them to come over there with a number 12 and they'll go feed a room over here with some lights and branch off, go get this other, and they'll run number 14 over. And one reason they do it also is because it's easier for them to connect it and everything and get the wire in the box. Yeah. You got much more freedom. They've allowed that. And I said, it's almost like a tap, Jeremy. I said, I'm not saying the code allows you. I'm telling you out in the field what they actually do. And now there have been some jurisdictions that over a period of time now, they don't allow you to do that anymore. But there's a lot of jurisdictions still allow that. And he goes, well, you just can't tap off that. And I said, well, you're full of crap. I said, it's no different. If I go over and look at 210.19C1, I'm dealing with like household ranges and cooking appliances. You can have a 50 amp branch circuit not exceeding 50 amps, and then it can be supplying your ranges, your wall mount electric ovens and counter mounted cooking equipment and stuff. And it'll tell you there that you have a branch circuit not exceeding that. And then it says it shall not have an ampacity of not less than 20 amps and be sufficient for the load to be served. And the reason they're allowing you to tap off of that, because they realize that that's just a tap, but the tap can be no longer than necessary for whatever appliance it's going to serve.
True.
And we've been doing that forever. I mean, that's not something that's uncommon. And there's a lot of jurisdictions today still look at it that same way as if I was tapping off for that cooking appliance. They allow you to do that for that. So when that happened, I said, Jeremy, the branch circuit would actually have stopped right there at the box.
Yeah.
He goes, well, the code don't allow that. And I said, Jeremy, I said, what you need to do, you need to get out of your office and your elitist attitude that you have out there and go in the field and see what they're actually doing. Because I can tell you right now, there's a lot of jurisdictions, they still allow that type of installation, and they've had no problems at all with it.
So I always tell my apprentices, and Daniel probably knows this about me, but I always say, what do you have to win a code argument? And you know what? They almost always say, I don't know. And what you have to have is you have to have a code reference. So if you don't have a code reference, you're not winning the argument. And the thing was, you sit there and present all the code references right there, and you're winning the code argument, and he comes back with no code reference at all. He just says you're misinterpreting the code reference. The one code reference that he says you're wrong. But it's like, no, dude, you have to come up with more code references than that. It already sends you over to 240 for overcurrent protection. So how are you sizing that overcurrent device?
Try it.
And so it was really fun. I really appreciate you not inviting me to defend myself, but it was really funny. The whole thing was, when it comes down to it, everyone knows that largely the IBEW doesn't think that they have to learn the code. They feel like they're just do whatever the foreman says, or whatever, whoever knows the most, or the person that tells them what to do, that's fine. I'm not saying they're uneducated. I'm just saying that they don't want to be educated. I'm not saying that largely a whole group of people's uneducated. I'm not calling all IBW electricians glorified ditch diggers. I never said that. I said that when we see on these social media groups that we run, I want a big shout out to Electrical Code Discussion for Awesome Electricians. We're at like 42,000 now. That's awesome. I mean, we're passing up ECD, and you said it was going to happen, and it's happening. We're going to pass them up. And the thing was, we're passing them up because we have content, we have podcasts, we have all this stuff that we bring up, and we just keep pushing the envelope. Well, that's why they're going to attack us, because they don't like that. They don't like us going out there and showing our point of view and saying, you know what? The code making panel wants to push this GFCI. It's not going to happen. If a task group, like if I get invited to a task group, it's over. I mean, I'm going to be the one member that never votes yes on anything. And that's why they don't want me on task group. But the whole thing is, it's like, I'm going to weigh that whole thing of safety. That's where we go to this whole 6-7 thing. 6-7. But, the whole thing is, we're weighing the safety of it. And just like David says, he sits there, he looks at it, he weighs the safety. He's like, nobody's, they're not going to break out their machetes and chop this in half and everything. It's 17 inches, good to go. It's within the support range of the code reference. And he's actually using his knowledge as an expert to weigh that safety concern and say, nah, there's no safety concern. This isn't going to have any problems. And guess what? How many of those things that you passed, David, have gotten broken off and killed people? 0. And that's exactly why we have the AHJs. You know, that's the whole reason why we have 90.4. Because they're allowed to weigh this whole safety concern and be like, you know what? I've never seen a wetness picture with Schedule 80 PVC kill anybody, so I'm going to go ahead and pass it. And you're 100% right, David. You can pass that all day, every day, and twice on Sunday.
I got something to show.
Okay.
It'll show up good. Well, it's not showing up that good. Not the way I want it to. I was hoping it would.
Yeah.
Well, we just got in the lightning protection and the grounding with the new covers and everything. We'll have the code change in here pretty soon in the 70E. So they're at the press now. So everything's going pretty good. Oh, and I'm going to tell you, wait till y'all see the new design book. Oh, my God. I've done some really cool illustrations on it with all the call outs and everything. And I was showing Dad the one I'm working on now.
You know what you did wrong? I'll tell you what you did wrong. You didn't post the link to it.
Well, it's not ready yet.
Okay. Well,
as a matter of fact, we're gonna I didn't realize this till I started doing it, but the services.
The lightning protection. You don't have a link?
Oh yeah. I'll get all that here in a second. I'll post everybody. But like the new one I'm working on, design book, the services, it's got 80 freaking illustrations in it. I didn't realize there were that many illustrations. So we're going to take a few of those chapters that are in there and we're going to sell them as individual publications too. So you'll probably, by the time we do all the individuals and everything, you're going to have access to about 40, 50 publications.
Nice.
So it's going to be nice.
So, well, just to give everyone the backstory, King James gypped me on about like 32 code changes or something for 2020, and I didn't say nothing at the time, but then we decided to start doing a podcast together, and he's like, all right, Bill, I'll get you right on that. So he's just been giving me like a few little Stall Cup credits. I got like Stall Cup bucks that I've been using, to like buy some publications and stuff. So I'm just waiting to see what I'm going to buy, see what I'm going to use my Stall Cup bucks on. But I appreciate you, making sure that, we stay straight. He's going to get me hooked up on the 2026 code change. I bought the 2023 publication. It was really awesome. I did a lot of the code question of the week based on that, and it was really funny because I actually got you on a couple of your own questions, but they weren't yours, they were your dad's. But at the same time, it's still funny because it was just good times, just stumping you on your own questions, and not really so much to be facetious, but just as being like good sports and just having fun. And like that's the whole reason we do the code question of the week, to try to get you. And if
always
I can,
trying.
I try, but like I said, I won't get you on the Willie Quiz this week. It's a good time to take a break on the Willie Quiz anyway. But so are you gonna do like a topic of the week or?
No, I didn't do one because I thought Chad was going to be here.
Okay.
I was like, okay, well, I don't have to get one ready. I was going to pick something out. But if he can't make it next week, I'll do it next week. But we got the tool of the week ready.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
It's time for Tool Review of the Week. Sponsored by Electricians Only Tool Review and Nipex Tradesman.
And I went ahead, I put in here's the link to the learning management system if you want the interactive copy that just boom, boom, boom. Or if you want to look at getting a softbound or PDF they sell. Here's the link to Builder's Bookstore, our publisher, where you can get to that too. So I put both of those up for everybody.
All right, sounds good. So the tool this week, just like I say, I've told everyone this. Anytime you guys have like requests of tools you want me to run, let me know and I will run them. This is one of my favorites. This is the hollow nut driver set, which I love. I love this thing. So I mean, this has been in my tool bag for a lot of years, and I just love it. I use it all the time. There's so many different ways I use this, and so just so people understand with this, what they're calling the hollow, so you could actually take, like, let's just say for example this is a 3/8, you could actually take this and run the 3/8 all the way up and it'll go out the back of the nut driver. It's showing that on the thing, and you can go and tighten it, and what I really like about it is you could just take that all thread and you could just go back and forth and you can just snap it off. Now, the only problem that I found is they have this thing that says it's magnetic, and that's really cool that it has a magnetic thing in there. So if you have, this doesn't really help you if you're using stainless steel hardware, because the stainless steel won't be magnetic anyway. So that's why it's never really bothered me, because I deal with a lot of stainless, especially doing like food processing stuff and everything. You're always dealing with stainless. Well, what happened was when I went to snap the all thread off, I broke the magnet out of there. So you have to be really careful with that, because that magnet, if you pose it, it'll break. And so I have 2 nut drivers that have the magnet broke out of them. I still have the magnet in some of them, but this set is really cool. This is the SAE set, and it goes from a 1/4 inch up to 9/16, which is really handy. I don't use the 1/4 inch much, don't use the 5/16 much, but I use the heck out of the 7/16, the 9/16, the 3/8 a lot, and then the 1/2 inch occasionally. But this is a really good set. My apprentice is like, I'm getting one for Black Friday, but I don't know if they actually do like a Black Friday for Klein. Like maybe they do, maybe there's a Klein Black Friday, but as you see, these are 100% made in the USA, really quality product, and this has been in my tool pouch for a long time and always is one of my go-to tools. Every time my apprentice is struggling with like his channel locks or something, I just hand him that and I'm like, here you go, bro, here's how you do it right. So recommend those.
It's interesting because when I was coming up through the trade, everything that I had in my pouch was Klein other than channel locks. That was the brand when I was coming up in the early 80s. Actually, I guess it'd been right at the late 70s too. But yeah, we used Klein. My dad bought my first tool bag for me and everything when I was 14 years old, and all of it was Klein except for the channel locks. The screwdrivers, at that time they didn't have the nut driver set, or at least I didn't have it. But I don't think I got that till I was like 22 or something. But it was that and channel locks. Those were the 2 brands that almost every electrician had.
Yeah, I'm still a Klein guy. I really like Klein. You kind of have to pick and choose a little bit, kind of like the code making panels do, but you have to make sure that you get the ones that are made in the USA, because they have a lot of like off-brand that like pretend to be Klein and they're like made in China, stuff like that. So you really have to pick and choose and just say the ones that I want, the ones that's made in America. This one made in the USA, and there's no doubting that Klein still has a real high quality when it comes to their tools that we use every day. So that one, go get you a hollow set nut drivers, or else I'll be handing it to you. So I have a rule, James. I don't know if you know this, but I learned this from one of the journeymen I worked with, and he says if you have to borrow a tool more than twice, you need to go buy your own.
That's right.
Yeah. So y'all need to like I'm gonna loan it to you 2 times, and then after the second time, you better be going and getting on Amazon and getting your own. So,
I remember getting my matter of fact, I still have my first set of tools I ever purchased, and all of it's Klein. The same tool bag, everything back. It's a leather tool pouch, and I've got it in the closet hanging up, all brand new tools, and then I have a Klein bag that has my nut drivers and everything else in it.
All brand new tools from when you're 20, huh?
Yeah,
All right.
they're like brand new.
All right. All right. Okay. We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out. Like,
The last time I used those tools, I was 31 years old when I wired my house, and that's the last time I've used them.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I have like my original channel locks. Like, I think they're like a little over 30 years old now. So I still have my original channel locks. I use them every day. So
I've got 2 pair of them, same size.
Yeah. So just so everyone knows, we have a segment called the Man vs. Machine, and so what I do is we have I ask King James a question. I try to find the hardest question I can possible that he's not gonna know.
Freaking no kidding, he does.
And then what we do is we ask ChatGPT, see what ChatGPT answers. And what I found out is there's a chink in ChatGPT's armor. Like, if you ask the question straight up, it'll get it right. But if you do multiple choice, it sometimes gets it wrong. Almost always gets it wrong, but I think it's got it right. I think it got it right last week, possibly. But it's like at 1 out of every 10 times it gets it right. But it's weird. It gets it wrong a lot. So do not use ChatGPT to cheat on your homework, kids. Let's go. Man vs. Machine.
All right, let's cue it up.
For years, man tried to create artificial intelligence. On this segment, we find out, is AI smarter than King James?
So the funny part about this is I think your record's like really high. I think it's like 112 to like 4 or 5 or something.
Well, one of them you asked me is on fire code and NFPA 72. I was like, hell, I don't know. I don't go over that code.
I know, because you think.
Well, one thing we did learn, I am smarter than Jeremy.
Hey, that is true. That is 100% true. So I think you'll like this one.
Let's
went
see.
into some old 690 this week.
Oh, this is rapid shutdown. Okay, and then located. Oh, I think it's like in 690.12, 13 or 14, somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm trying to remember.
I think it might be past 13.
It's 2 foot or 3 foot.
You want to get your?
I don't remember seeing anything with 2 foot. I'll go 3 foot on this one. I think it has to be within 3 foot of where that switch is. So
right.
I'll go with 3 foot.
All right,
I'm guessing at it.
Let's see what ChatGPT says.
All right, let me go over. Let me copy this. All right, got that put in. Now let's share the screen. Let's go find ChatGPT. There we go. Okay, should be able to see it pretty good.
There you go.
All right, let's see what it says. It's a thinking. Oh, it went 3 foot. Oh, boy, I was way off on the section. It says it's in 56C. All right, let me go over Open NFPA link and see what section it's in.
I wanted to say it wasn't. I don't think it was. Like I wanted to say it was like 40 something or 30 something. Like
Okay, I'm over there now. Let me go over and look.
I wanted to say it was kind of towards later in the in 690. I don't think it was. I think.
Okay, there's no 56C, so I don't know
That's
where it got that.
I like where you said 13 because I think 13 is like disconnecting means, but I think that it's like later past 13. 690 13 I believe is disconnecting means.
I'm looking
And
for
then
it right now.
It goes 690 15 I think is.
It's not in there.
And then I think it goes to like 690, like I want to say 690 42 or something possibly.
That's the direct current signs. So it's not there, so I got to go up. Okay, there's disconnecting means. It's not in there.
So the reason this came up, just so you know, is we had this argument with like that balcony solar. And these guys are like, oh man, well that's so dangerous because you could be killing linemen and stuff. But what those things have is they have an RSD, internal RSD in them. And so what happens is like you plug them in and they actually have a grid sensor. So if the grid shuts off, they have RSDs internal in that solar equipment and it will not backbeat to the grid.
Okay, I got it. It's 690.12D2 and it's 3 foot.
Yes, sir. Boom. So actually, ChatGPT kind of got it right, but like if you're in school and your instructor wants to know the code section, ChatGPT is not even close on that code section. So
the answer's correct, but the section is wrong. Section 690.12 D2. States.
You actually nailed it. You were pretty close with 13. I thought it was like later in 690.
I said it was around 12, 13, or 14, somewhere around there.
All addresses disconnecting means, so you were correct on that.
King James was right. Oh, answer. You need to do better.
That's so funny. We are actually single-handedly making ChatGPT better.
Yeah, it's actually building up a database as we do this over and over with it, and it's putting everything in. Yep, rapid touchdown fix. Yeah, it's going to add it to my mastery log that we've been doing. So, yep,
nice.
Okay.
That's cool. Well, like I say, once again, it's pretty cool. Like King James is still smarter than AI. So, like I say, proven that that you're not going to be able to replace that human with these automation machines and all this stuff. Everyone thinks.
Yeah, it's funny because a lot of times he asks me all these hard ass questions, and I'm usually right around close to the section because it's stuff I don't look at all the time. If it's something I'm doing all the time, I can just boom, boom, pop it off. But some of them I'm like, I think it's right around this section. But I've done so much with the code over time, I have a pretty good idea what section and where it's at.
The reason that I wanted to do that one was because I actually ran into that in the field one time, and these guys are like, no, it has to be on the switch. Yeah. And I was like, nah. And then we run into that a lot with fire alarms. So next week is gonna be how far away your fire alarm has to be from the door or something. I'll get you on one. I'll try to get you on one. But the whole thing is like.
One of the things I want to say is, Daniel, you're lucky that he didn't get the Walsh or the Willie Quiz questions, you gonna get your butt whooped like you did last week.
Oh, dang it. All right. Elon Musk has developed a new robot electrician that knows the code book front to back. Oh, dude, that's hilarious.
Mhm.
Like the thing is, like, dude, it's so hard, man, because
Can I answer that question real quick?
yeah.
That robot electrician was so smart. That's why they transcribed our podcast and used it as the thing. Foo, there you go.
Oh, man.
Oh,
Yeah, that's a good one.
man. That happened too. That's a fact.
That 100% happened. So the thing is that you really have to, in my opinion, I don't see AI or robots or anything being able to do what we do as electrical foremen. We have to like make decisions. We have to like do it a certain way. Like if I programmed a robot, it could probably do a pretty good job. Like, because I know, like, hey, the smartest way is do it like this. Daniel knows. Daniel knows how I am. I'm like, all right, so what does a robot do, Daniel? A robot builds robots. So I'm going to program that robot how to build robots. And then what it's going to do is it's going to just spend all day building robots. And I'm going to say, all right, I need these robots. I need these robots. And I need to go like this. And it's funny because I already planned out the whole conduit run in my head how it's going to go. And it's going to go 90, kick, turn 90, straight, hit a box, whatever. And I'm already in my head like, well, if I turn another 90, then I got to figure out a spot for a box. And you know what I mean? I'm already at 390s and I already going to be 90s up top. And I'm already thinking about all that stuff. And yeah, maybe a robot could do that. Could think about all that. Like, oh man, well, I already got two 90s, but where am I going to put the box up there? And like, I don't have any place to put a box up there. Maybe I should just come down, do like an LB, come straight down, hit an LB. You know what I mean? And do I need to have support for LB? No. You know what I mean? Like all that stuff. You're thinking about all those code rules in your head. You're like, yeah, I'll just do it this way, And it's really funny because, like out at the airport, they want everything the same. So if you like make a decision and you're like, okay, cool, I'm gonna just come down and hit an LB. Every single one comes down, hits LB. That's easy. You know what I mean? Then you're like, boom, 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 boom. You can process information so fast that way because you're just making the decision. You're like, hey, every single one comes down, hits an LB, does a 30-degree kick, and goes 90 or whatever, And then when you go look at them, they all look the same. And that's what I call robots. When I do robots, it's rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. It's all the same, And like I say, I have a hard time thinking that AI is going to be able to do that. And, like...
It'll go off. It'll go, danger, danger, Will Snyder. Too many bins.
Oh, dude. Yeah. And... Dude, that's so funny, man. That's so funny, Daniel.
Will
man.
Robinson, Will Snyder.
Dude, that's so funny. I could see it. I could see AI like
Oh shit.
Will Snyder, you need to go in this room over here and fall down these stairs, like they had to get rid of me. But like I say, it to me it's really awesome because I look at certain things and a lot of different electricians are like, oh man, this is going to be really hard. And for me, I just process it all. I'm like the Terminator electrician. I'm just like, boop, 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 degrees, angles, analyzed, all supports analyzed, everything analyzed, hammer drill analyzed, where we're going to penetrate, what we're going to do. And, like, there's like all these problems with the whole thing. Like, there's all these problems that come up with, like, they gave me the print, this is wrong, There's like they said there was this many circuits there. Those circuits aren't there. You know, all this different stuff. And I could analyze it and just be like, okay, I can do this much up to here, then set a box, and I can pull the wire. I can make this up. I can do this. I can do all this stuff. And then even if all of that, even if there's one thing wrong with that, it doesn't matter because everything from this point to that point's right. And so I already analyzed, like, there's no way this can change. There's no way this can change. There's no way this can change. Everything from here to there is right. That's like 90% of what we need to do, you know? So we can analyze the 10% at the end. That's no problem, you know? And then even if we have to analyze that 10% and do it on a shutdown where we're got to get the moon suit on, verify a electrically safe work condition, do you know, all this stuff that I already know in my head. Like, we have to do all that stuff, you know? I already know how to do that. I just have a hard time. Like, I mean, I could see that being a good portion of the robot work is they're like, hey, the robot can terminate it, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, even if that robot is named Hack, you know, you're like, Hack. Hey, Hack. You know? But the whole thing is, like, that is a good, that, like, Daniel makes a good point that is a good position to put robots in. To be like, all right, I got it all the way to this point. I got all the conduit bent. All the robot has to do is do the hard stuff that could blow up in your face, you know? And then they can do it live. You know what I mean? Like, you know, 70 East for protection of electrical personnel. Is that robot going to be electrical personnel? I hope not. Because I'd rather it punch the panel and do all the dangerous stuff, drop shards in there, do all kinds of crazy stuff, and let stuff blow up. And if they have an unintentional rapid disassembly in the field with an AI robot doing it, it's fine by me.
Yeah.
You know, what's going to happen? Like, it doesn't need PPE.
We got jobs for you.
Yeah, 100%, man. Go punch all those live panels, man. You know?
That's right.
And if we teach them how to do it right, not blow stuff up, then all right, more power. You know, we could just slip in there, grab a magnet and drill it and pull it out and not blow it up and connect the pipe, and you know what I mean? We push our wire in there and, you know, whatever, then that's cool with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm fine with that, like lowering the PPE for electricians.
All right.
Definitely good. Wallace Shane?
We got one more thing, folks, and then we gonna call it tonight and go watch a little football.
Yes, sir.
Shame. 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 Shame.
All right, you're gonna love this one, man. This one's perfect.
Let's see.
Right when I saw it. Oh man, like what is? Oh man, like
The hell?
yeah, that is just weird.
What is that going into concrete?
It sure looks like it.
Looks like it's going in concrete. Then they got like a little sleeve that they let it sleeve. Well, no, it looks like that looks like the insulation around it. They ran it into the wall and then poured the concrete onto it.
Yeah, that one, man, it was so bizarre. Like when I saw it, I was just like, what?
And then they took a little strap and then took the wires, put them inside that strap thing there, and then secured it down with a strap. And then they got another one down below that they're connecting onto it and then running another wire into it. That's a bunch of crap there. That ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
That would definitely get turned down by me.
Yeah, I would say so. I just, there was so much weird stuff going on with that one. I was like, what?
Yeah, they've got one of those straps that's not even an accepted type for getting those grounds on there, but they took one of those at that's a metal one, and as you turn it, it's got like the little slots in it that it clicks to and pulls it tight. And they put all the ground wires there. But hell, one of the ground wires there is blue.
I know. I saw that.
And then they got another one that's a red, yellow, and green colored ground. I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
There's a lot of no-no with this one.
Definitely international, but we do not disappoint when it comes to the Wall of Shame, and
And that was presented by William Hellwig.
Yes, sir. Yeah, dude. I mean, what would be the reason to put a robot in a 40 cal suit? You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I mean, dude, that's what's hard. Like tomorrow, I have to go do like a examination, and basically I have to go through the whole like I'm not even locking out and tagging out. I'm doing like a justified, energized examination, and I have to go through the whole dog and pony show. And I'm glad. I'm, I have to verify, because, they basically have this spec for DIA where if you're going to use up every space in the panel, then you have to set a sub panel. But, every space is used up, but the only ones that are open is the ones we're going to take up. So, technically, we have to, put a sub panel. We have to branch off of it, put a subby, what everyone calls a subby panel. But it's weird because if there's a bunch of spur breakers in there that they're not using, then we're good. But we don't know. We have to pull the cover off, have to moon suit it, all this stuff, And, the thing is that I love is doing this podcast. It's really funny when you said that to Weed Man, he says something and you're like, yep. That's why we have this podcast, so people get the correct information, and I love that. That when you said that was awesome, because that is the reason I like doing this, because there was a lot of these guys nope, it needs to be number 12 all the way from the breaker all the way to every device. That's not true.
By code, I do agree with that. But that's not what actually happens in the real world. And they take all the time. They'll run a number 12 over there, and then they'll branch off with a 14.
I'm disagreeing a little bit with, the thing is that when we come in, you have tap conductors all over the place.
I agree with that.
And I don't think they realize that you're going from a 20 amp breaker to your luminaire to your lighting outlet. And then from there, you're going 16, 18 to your luminaire. And that's 100% fine. Nobody's ever said that. In all these years, nobody's ever said that's wrong. And then when Weedman's like, no, those are part of the branch circuit. The outlet is inside the luminaire. He's wrong. He's 100% wrong. And the reason why is because they wouldn't be able to reduce those conductors to 18 or 16 to go from the luminaire to the lighting outlet if he was right. And so
that's what I was saying.
You were
a lot of times
right.
they'll come over, set a box, and branch off to the other rooms, and then from there they would run number 14s. They've done that for years. I mean, and that's what I told him. You haven't been out in the field apparently, because that is a common practice. Now, the code doesn't say either or on that. A lot of people read the code and you got to put number 12 all the way through. But there's a lot of jurisdictions disagree with that, just like they do when they're tapping off to a lower rated piece of cooking equipment. And they'll come off 50 amp and go 20 or 30 amp something. They've done that forever. And they look at it the same way.
I see your point on the gray area of the code on that, but the whole thing is that I just don't. To me, I don't understand it when you have a number 12 that goes from a 20 amp breaker, comes out, you hit a lighting outlet, and then from that lighting outlet you hit 37 troppers with number 16, and nothing's ever blowed up.
I'll give you a good example. If they go out and they're feeding some poles out in the parking lot, and say they go out there with a number 10, and then from there they start feeding with number 12s.
Yeah.
Well, they did that due to voltage drops. All it is, and they might even go down to a 14. You're still going to get the fault current path back. That's what you're really worrying about.
Where's the outlet? Where's the branch circuit outlet that it ends at? Because you're like, with their logic, you're going from the service to your first pole, and that's where your outlet is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so then that's where the branch circuit ends. So what do you call the rest of that? It's not a branch circuit anymore. It's ridiculous because it doesn't work for them.
That's right. And I tried explaining that to him, and he didn't want to hear it.
Yeah. So what, you just have like different branch circuits? So you have like a branch circuit from the overcurrent device to the outlet that ends at this pole. Now all of a sudden you start a new branch circuit that goes from this pole to the rest of the poles.
I told him that.
Like, it just doesn't make any sense. And I remember you saying, oh, so all these luminaires that have like lower wires, smaller conductors that go connect to the branch circuit, like those are all wrong. He's like, no, that's a listed piece of equipment. Really?
I said, no kidding. That's what I've been trying to tell you.
Every single one's a listed piece of equipment. Like, can I just take the listed fixture whip, throw it in the trash, and just put number 12 because Weedman says it has to be number 12 from the breaker to that listed piece of equipment? I mean, yeah, that's fine, but you're voiding the U-All listing now all of a sudden. So you can't have it both ways.
He brought that question up about coming from the switch straight to the luminaire, and he goes, "Where's the outlet?" I said, "It's right there at the switch." "Oh, you're full." I said, "Well, answer this." I said, the code making panel specifically said there can be situations where the disconnect can be an outlet. I said, give me one installation where that's true.
So you know where they have a problem with that.
Well, he had a big problem with it because he gave me some installation. And I said,
"Yeah,
tell me one piece of equipment where that installation that you just gave." He goes, "Well, I don't know." I said, because it doesn't exist. I said, "You're full of crap, dude." I said, "But I gave you a type of installation where it could be, and now you don't want to agree with it."
So let's just say, because I actually brought this up to him, that's why they had to get something in there that said it. Because let's just say you have a luminaire that has a factory whip that's like 16 gauge, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you put in like individual disconnecting means, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you go from, let's just say, a 20 amp circuit, number 12s, to that disconnect, number 12s, and now you tie in that factory luminaire in there and you have a switch. Well, now they're going to say the switch is the outlet now because they can't say it's inside the luminaire anymore because that's not covered by the NEC because it's factory wired.
Mm-hmm.
And so that would be the case where they're saying that now all of a sudden that switch is now your outlet because that covers their ass on all the other shit they're wrong on.
Yeah, but I brought it up to him.
I brought it up too.
He was stumbling over his words. He didn't even know what to say.
Well, yeah, because there is HVAC equipment that come with factory whips. And so we're sitting there saying there's never been an outlet, there never was an outlet, there's never going to be an outlet because the individual branch circuit, and it just connects to the system, to the wiring system. And so what we brought up for 2026 is there's individual branch circuits that connect to outlets if they're installed, or there's individual branch circuits that are directly connected to the wiring system right from the utilization equipment. The code has to say that, or else you have a problem. And we proved it in 2026 because we went in there, we posted all kinds of code changes for them, and we're like, all right, well, the individual branch circuit connects to an outlet. They're like, nope. And then we're like, all right, the individual branch circuit connects to two outlets. They're like, nope. all right, the individual branch circuit just connects. They're like, nope. Oh, you guys aren't making any sense. You guys don't, like you went through everything on outlet. For the first time all the way back, you went all the way back to the 40s. They tried to change the definition of outlet to prove us wrong. And
well, my favorite part of
do
that was them changing the outlet and saying it's where the outlet is where you connect the utilization equipment. Well, that didn't work out too good, and they had to delete that and go back to the original language because what they were saying meant, oh, well, what about if I have a receptacle there? Now you're saying the receptacle is. They were like, oh, wait a minute, you can't say that. And I was like, if it's so clear, then why couldn't you explain it?
Yeah. And what was funny was they tried to change it, and I even said it. I made a comment, and I said, okay, well, if you guys do this, then that means that there's no outlet when it's cord and plug connected. Yeah. So they wanted to make it like really clear that there's an outlet when it's hardwired. And what they explicitly did when they did that was they made it say there's no outlet when it's cord and plug connected.
That's right.
So there's only an outlet when it's hardwired. And so it was basically opposite what they wanted, and they realized it. They had to change it back. And that was for the first time since the 40s, or even like you went back even further than that. It couldn't even be from the 20s. You know that they couldn't say that. They couldn't say there's always an outlet there.
Then we had great old Mike come in, Mike Holt, and then start saying, "Oh, well, this definition had changed." Hell, we said that like 6 months ago, Mike, and you're just now picking up on it. He heard us say it, so now he wants that like he's the one put it out there. Give me a freaking break.
Well, dude, he's been doing it longer than your dad, so I mean.
Well, after all, he's been in it 50 years, and Dad was doing it before him. I don't even know how that's possible, but
dude, second-year apprentices can make apprenticeship training now. So just have the faith, that. They can hire ghostwriters, in their second-year apprentices in 1975, You know
what's funny is that when they were attacking me on that and saying, "Oh, Mike's better than you," and blah, 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 I said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "He doesn't even write his own publications." "How dare you say that? That isn't true." I said, "The hell it isn't. He's got ghostwriters." I said, "Ask anybody." And they go, "Well, that doesn't mean he's not good," and blah, 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 after they found out what I was saying was true. And that goes back once again to what I was talking about. I've been in this long enough. I know all the facts about everybody pretty much. And I can sit here and just tell you all day. And that's one reason when I was debating Jeremy, he was getting so pissed because I was going back in time, pulling things out and saying this, and this. And he didn't know what to say. But it goes show Jeremy gets his things, him and his boys over at ECD, they pull one thing out, get their minds made up. And then when, it's hard to explain everything when you're just, writing messages and stuff. But when you get on a live stream and somebody can just go on and on and on, then you see that other person doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. And that's what happened to Jeremy. That's why he didn't show up tonight.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Oh,
right, DJ?
Oh, dude. DJ knows what's up. I really apologize to Daniel for not having the Willie Quiz tonight. That was my bad. I probably just shut my computer down before a message went through, but dude, that's so hilarious, man. Yeah, dude. Go.
All right, let's wrap it up. It's almost 9. I'm ready to go watch some football, brother.
Hey, you know what we should do? We should go watch some freaking football.
I agree with you. I'm not going to disagree.
I appreciate everyone joining us. Thanks so much. As always, remember, make every day an easy day. Thanks so much for joining. I'm out.
No podcast next Thursday, by the way.
Yeah, Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone, for next week.
Y'all eat good, be healthy, have a good time. Enjoy spending time with family and friends. And we'll see y'all in 2 Thursdays, and some of y'all will see Monday for our awesome football podcast, Monday Morning Coach.
Yeah, and I'll send the link out to you, Chad, for next show if you want to join. So,
sounds good.
You.
All right, everybody. Have a good week, good Thanksgiving. We'll see all y'all, some of y'all Monday.
Deuces.